Welcome to another episode of the Live Well Podcast, where today we're doing another interesting, insightful, and informative session. All right, so we have with me is my trusty co-host still, Miss Sasha Bernard. Sasha is here. Ready?
Yes.
Ready?
Ready.
Okay, and joining us again is actually, I'm going to forever refer to her as Dr.
Yes.
Kamala McWhinney. Although she's not going to start the program yet, but we're putting it in the universe. Mm-hmm. And she's back with us, and we're going to be talking about maintaining a healthy work-life balance.
Mm-hmm.
No, that topic, listen, I know, I heard it. That's a topic that we often heard being thrown around all the time. Workplaces use it, and you have individuals who are using to saying that they're trying to strike that balance between work and personal. So my first question I'm going to throw out is, can that exist? Does that exist?
Listen, that is the $1 million question. Right? I think that for it to exist, we have to be super intentional, and that not every place is our place, and not every, we can't exist in every space and have a healthy life-work balance. And some people flip it and say it's not even work-life, it's life-work, because I'm able to work because I have a life.
Correct, yes.
So it's life as a matter of priority and then work, right? Balance.
Love
and
that.
then some workplaces, in the way that they operate now, it's going to be difficult to have it. So we have to make some very real decisions.
No, working from home, even outside of just the specific workplace, I feel like working from home also puts a huge twist on, because work became life. Life became work, and it was just everything merged into one, and boundaries were very blurred.
But again, going to go back, that's where boundaries was important in order for us to have that. I'm going to say it because everybody say work-life balance, but for me, I like your definition.
The flip.
That life work, that life work balance. I think that's very, 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 very important. But although we have that definition now, I'm going to throw it to both of you from an individualistic perspective. So we're going to take off the doctor hats here, and we're going to say, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you think about work-life balance?
I think about how many hours are in the day and how much living we have to pack into those hours. And for me, it's hard because the work demands are so pressing, and the life piece, we are whole entire human beings outside of the workplace. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So where do we find the time to actually live, not just regular living, but live like a full
Life,
a live well kind of life. Finding the time to do that, I think, is what comes to mind when I hear people talk about, Kamala, I'm not doing well in corporate settings. It's that. This is so demanding, and everything that comes with it, including the relationships at work and the tension that comes from those relationships. And then, of course, but I'm a person. I want to travel. I want to have love. I want to raise a family. I want to do nothing. How do we make that all happen?
Sash, for you,
Similar.
same question.
Similar. I think I look at it from a different perspective. When I think of work-life balance, I think only about work. And for me, that's the only thing I need to balance. Life is a life, and I have no problem doing everything else, but work is what needs to be curtailed. So for me, when I think of work-life balance, I think of 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and that is work. And everything else comes after. But for me, once you start at 8, you give the work that is necessary, the time that they require.
100%.
100%. But at 4:30, don't call me, don't text me, don't ask me to send any extra email, don't ask me to do anything. I am finished to working. So for me, that's what I think work-life balance.
And that works for you in order to give your optimal support.
I would say it works to some extent, because of course, and when you look at it from the life perspective, the remainder of hours still aren't enough to do life. But it does help. As in to not get residue, I guess. So residual work into life. So I would say that based on that, I mean, I don't always get to do it because, of course, sometimes you have priorities. Some things are urgent. You know how it goes. So you don't always get to. But for me, it does kind of make things a little clearer.
Okay. So let's talk about now. You guys have given a definition of work-life balance. What are some of the benefits that you think of work-life balance? Why is it necessary? What we need it for?
I think that the benefits are the benefit is, one benefit I would say is holistic health. I think that you are able, with that balance, to focus on every aspect of your health. You're able to focus on your physical health, your spiritual health, your mental health, your social health, because you have time now to allocate to nurture each of these realms of your life.
Okay.
So I would say that's one of the benefits of having any sort of balance, work life, play life, any balance. Yeah.
Yeah. Kamala?
And my answer is very similar because it's about wellness. I think in our conversation that we had some time back, we spoke about stress, right? And so juggling all of those pieces, I think, can really lead people to stress and go further into burnout, which is a big thing now. People are talking about, I don't have anything left to give. So I think the benefit for me would be balance,
Yeah.
like wholeness, right? And wellness.
Yeah.
But you mentioned burnout. What does burnout look like for people? Because I know for some, like for me, I think my burnout is when I give 300% and I go and I go and I go, and then my body shuts down. So that I know when I'm at my, again, sometimes we spoke earlier, we talk about listening to your body. I literally know the signs when my body is telling me, you know, you need to take a break, you need to just chill.
know.
Yeah. And then when I choose to ignore it and I go sick, hospital, not
Pop
hospital,
down.
doctor,
Yeah.
string up, need
Yeah,
to
yeah.
revitalize and come again. And that's because I ignored it. What do you think are some of the other signs that persons can look for before they reach burnout? What it look like?
So, before we got to this question, I was going to play like a little, I don't want to call it devil's advocate, but something like that, and say, but what about those people who love work so much that they don't really want to shift from work to life?
Life, yeah.
Like work is a big piece of what fulfills them.
Yeah, that's true.
And I will say, number one, for some of those folks, if that drives you and you are balancing, meaning that you're taking care of yourself, you're taking your required breaks,
Yeah.
your health is okay, right? You're not maximizing demands without having coping as well, then I would say,
Do you?
watch yourself, but
Yeah.
go on do
Yeah.
your thing.
Yeah.
But the reason I raise it is because I know some persons literally are workaholics.
Correct.
And we don't talk about workaholism as much as we talk about other things, where sometimes, or we become so addicted to feeling fulfilled and productive.
Yeah.
The productivity thing is so real that guess what happened now? I always need to be productive to feel
Productive,
good
yeah.
about myself. So I'm always going to be head down, super engrossed in
Yeah,
work all the
yeah.
time. And that can be problematic. So
Yeah.
I guess the question then for anybody who may be watching, listening, and may say, do I have balance, or even do I want balance?
Aha.
Do I
Yeah.
want
Do I want
balance?
balance? Yeah.
Listen.
The first thing I want to say is zero judgment.
Yeah.
This table, we don't have any judgment.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a matter of awareness. Like, is there something that we may be running from or running to?
Yeah.
And are we in balance? I think is the question.
Yeah.
Sometimes the answer is yes. I'm running away from a stressful marriage. So I'm head down in work. I'm running away from the midlife crisis. I feel like if I don't get this particular position by this age,
I'm going to be a
because
failure.
you know, so upon the
or
age,
something.
hamster
age,
wheel.
Oh, yeah,
yes,
correct,
Listen,
yes.
if when I get the promotion, if I'm not CEO or assistant or deputy or vice by the time I'm 48,
Yeah.
then I would have failed.
Yeah.
So all of those things can be so wrapped up into what drives us. And if we're treating only the symptoms of the burnout now, Garfine, right, Sasha, then guess what? We're not really get to the root
Yeah.
of it, because what's really so in everything,
Yeah.
it's important that we have to check this, like what's my mindset around this.
Yeah.
So burnout looks like difficulty concentrating, focusing, loss of interest, again the kind of tiredness that sleep doesn't cure.
Yeah.
No matter what, I'm tired out and I'm not being re-energized.
Yeah.
I was at a place one time where I was burnt out. I used to the phone, don't call me, don't email me, don't tell me no
Yeah.
problems because I don't
Yeah.
have it. Like I don't care.
Yeah.
So sometimes you can get to that place, and then physically that manifests as well.
Yeah.
There's the things that we talked about when we discuss stress.
Yeah.
The headaches, the tensions in the body, some of the random pains that doctors say, but not no deal.
Yeah.
But you still have the pain.
Pains, yeah. What about mood swings?
Oh, come on,
Yeah.
no. Irritability.
Talk about it.
As the breeze blow, you want to tell the people about them pieces and them
Yeah.
parts.
Yeah.
Like always on edge, or you're fluctuating between like feeling okay, like I can manage, and feeling like my life is going to end.
Yep.
Yeah.
No in between, no middle ground. It's one extreme or the other. Yeah.
And what are some of the common causes that you think of poor work-life balance?
Overachieving.
I can name a few.
Yeah.
A few
I feel like overachieving, like wanting to be so amazing all the time, not giving yourself any grace, I think that's one. I would venture into a very uncharted territory and say sometimes the workplace management, they also put so much pressure on you. You feel as though you can't even stop for a minute because you need to meet these goals. You need to, so for me, those are two things.
For me, I want to hijack Sasha's point and help us to look at it from two perspectives. The perspective of self and systems. From the self perspective, there are many factors.
Yeah.
And I want to throw in a word, which is a very potent word, which is perfectionism. I feel the body just told me a lot of while ago. They were like, listen, I feel that. No, I love quotes. I came across this quote recently. I can't remember the name of the person that it's attributed to. But this person said that perfectionism is pretty much fear in fancy clothes.
Perfectionism is
Fair and fancy
Dressed up in fancy clothes.
Yeah.
We call it all kind of things. And there was a time in my life where I would enter a job interview and they said, what are your strengths? I would have said, I'm going to boast it too, I said, I'm a perfectionist. I thought it was a beautiful thing to aspire to. So for those who are watching, it is not.
Yeah.
Like it's really an anxiety around the perception that I'm failing.
Perceptions, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
and
the external, like who is looking at me and what do they think about me?
yeah. It's very interesting you should mention about failure, because that failure is something that we often we shy away from or we don't talk about it. But I know I've seen it around. There's a particular person on LinkedIn I know who always talks about failing his way to success.
Yes.
And before I was just like, why does he say that? What does that mean?
Yeah.
But when I kind of think about it from my perspective, it's sort of like a redirection moment as well. It is fine to fail because sometimes in failing we learn, in failing we adapt, in failing we achieve even more than we probably thought we didn't have the capacity to.
Yeah, we become resilient with failure.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's it.
Oh, wow, is that our word for today?
Yeah,
That
Might be a word for today.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, so what we're saying is it's okay to fail.
Yeah.
But it's really and truly about how we bounce back from it.
Yeah. And to throw in another reframe I came across recently is that when you think about resilience, let's also think about bouncing forward. Because when we have a setback that might cause us to, whatever, to be stressed, to have anxiety, to be triggered, or to have a breakdown or burnout or whatever, ideally we don't want to come back to the same place.
Correct.
We want to
move
bounce
forward. Yeah.
So from the self perspective, the
Yeah.
perfectionism is one that contributes. And then just to throw over to the system side, as Sasha mentioned, sometimes the workplace cultures, though well-meaning sometimes they're not well-meaning, but they are out of balance themselves. They're unrealistic, sometimes even unkind, I would go as far as saying.
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't want to pay the more people and to do the work.
Yeah.
And so sometimes there is a level of unkindness that contributes to us just not being in balance.
Yeah. I'm gonna again jump back on a point you made a while ago about sometimes the work atmosphere being unkind. I'm probably gonna use some examples from our office in terms of we have, I think I mentioned about another program, the Healthy Lives program. So there's the aspect that looks at the person or physical wellness and how we kind of pay attention to that, work through that. But there's also the social side. Part of the program where we have family sports day.
Nice.
We have
Mix and mingle.
the mix and mingles. Funny enough, they also had this at a time in our life when we introduced this whole heap of different. First of all, the policies that we have, because for me, I am also, yes, I can do a 9 to 5, but sometimes there are moments when I check out.
Yes.
Or flexi
So
time.
having the flexi time policies where you can say, okay, you work from Monday to Thursday, you work longer hours, but on a Friday, maybe half day, or you don't come in at all. Kind of thing.
Or even working from home,
Or
the
working
option to work
the
from
option.
home.
I remember we that launched that before COVID, and somebody said it resonated with me. Somebody said on the Instagram post that, oh, this sounds nice and all, but this company is too forward thinking. We're not ready for that. 3 months later,
Pandemic in our
Pandemic.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little did they
and
know.
we literally just said, everybody go home.
Yeah.
And our operations continued seamlessly. And for that, I'm just like, okay, it was nice to be a part of a company who has put those things in place for us.
Yeah.
It's nice to have a company who said, hey, bring your family, come, let's do this. Oh, probably bring your pet to work today.
Yeah.
Or that type of thing. These are the things that are helps me to work better. And then having, as simple as it sounds, I might not, at one point in my life, I might not have used it, but we have desks where you literally go, have a meeting, you sit on the desk, your computer is here, and you can exercise. Or you have a desk where you can come up and you work from that desk. And you go. Like those things I think are meaningful.
Ergonomic chairs and things that promote wellness in the workplace.
Correct.
You know? Yeah, no,
And these are
very
sometimes,
appreciative.
for me, these are things I often take for granted. I never honestly thought about it until I realized the benefit of it. You know, when the benefit kind of taken away from you, the home in a pandemic, and you're back at earth, you and things like this.
You're like, oh, that was really making a difference.
Correct, it was.
And those are not small things, those are huge.
Yeah.
And that, to me, that's superbly innovative, right? Because I don't know many workspaces locally that offer this wide range of just well-being initiatives to support staff. And they're crucially important, you know what I mean?
No, they are.
And I feel as though even the work from home, the flexi time, I've heard so many staff tell me that their superiors are nervous about whether or not they will actually be working. And so they want to come to the office and they can see you.
Yeah.
Which doesn't guarantee productivity.
Yeah,
Let's
definitely.
just talk
So
about
I
that.
think we need to reframe productivity.
Correct.
And then even Garfina and Sasha, even bringing the psychology lens into it, we all work differently.
Yes.
So them teach in a primary school, so
Jesus.
high school, so we'll learn different.
Yeah.
But then when we come and work, we must work the same,
Same way.
Yeah.
Show up at 9.
Yeah.
What if I go to bed at 4? I don't care, come to work at 8:30.
Yeah.
And then you must work for these number of hours in these ways. It's screen, it's looking into people's face, it's meeting 5 times a day.
Yeah.
Let's talk about neurodivergence. There are some of us whose brains are not neurotypical.
Yeah.
We work
Words and meanings.
different.
Neurodivergence. Yes.
Yeah,
So
no, it's
we're
true.
wired differently. Some of us are on the autism spectrum. And so we don't have that level of skill in navigating human interactions.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say some things that might not sound so appropriate. Because I know how to gauge the
Yeah.
room.
Yeah.
So when you're
definitely.
asking me to sit and talk to people like this, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So again,
Unreasonable.
Garfield raised the systems and the structures, and I'm talking about the self again. We have to look at both sides.
Yeah.
Because the onus is on me if I'm neurodivergent to have awareness
Correct.
about my needs, and then ideally for the workplace to have structures which are responsive to my needs.
Yeah. And I love that you said with the structures being responsive, because Garfield, that makes me think of Nestle, and this is going to be a shameless commendation, right? So Nestle, because I think that Nestle, they don't only focus on internal, like the employees, but we promote this concept of a healthy lifestyle. But in reality, what is a healthy lifestyle? What does that look like? And I think one of the things that Nestle does that I really love as a company is that they're not only concerned about the internal, like Nestle cares internally, Nestle cares externally as well, right? So we have the Live Well. The Live Well is not just a podcast. The Live Well is an initiative where we want to promote healthy lifestyles to our consumers, to the general public. We give them the tools that they need then to make healthier decisions, right? And it's not just, some people may say, okay, it's Nestle, so we just pushing our brands, pushing our products, but it's not just that. It's we want them to have this holistic understanding of this healthy lifestyle. And of course, our products will fit into that because we are promoting nutrition.
Exactly.
But, for them to be able to lead happier and healthier lives and not just live well, and it doesn't just focus on adults, but we also have the Nestle for Healthier Kids, where we do the same thing with school-age children, because, those formative years are so important. We want them to be able to grow up knowing that these are the right things to do. So even if in their older years they decide, nah, not doing it, it wouldn't be because of lack of knowledge. So that's one of the things I really love about Nestle. And they promote that it's not necessarily a work-life balance, but it's a work-healthy lifestyle balance. So Big up you, Nestlé.
It's funny. It's
Yeah.
funny. It's funny enough. When she said that, I remember I'm gonna go back again when the pandemic hit, and we all know wash our hands and do certain things to be clean, but we never understood the simple importance of washing our hands until COVID came. And you're just like, oh,
Yeah.
we never know about this thing. So we're like, okay, that's how it's transmitted. You have to wash your hands.
Yeah.
And I thought back and I was just like, hey, big up the program, because I wasn't a part of it because it was my generation, younger. But having been here and actually, have the PR and having to go to the schools or
Yeah.
write stuff about it, I realized that there was a part of it had the 5 healthy habits.
Yep.
And part of it was a big part of it was washing your hands and
Yeah.
how to wash your hands.
Correct. Yeah.
And then also having to do, what that test name again? The food handler's
that?
permit. By the way, I'm not operate food, but because I work at a food company, I have to do it. And I realized how
Yeah.
that's a part of the thing. What's the right way to wash your hands?
You're ahead of the game.
It was mind blowing.
Yeah, we didn't just jump on the pandemic train.
Correct.
We were doing these things before.
And it goes back to what
Yeah.
Sasha said about having these things in schools with our kids from the
Yeah.
formative years, so that we can grow and have healthy habits. Or say
Yeah.
healthy kids become healthy adults.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because I think, as you said that for the formative years, is there a possibility that possibly based on the lifestyle that you have as a kid, it either promotes you having a healthy work-life balance as an adult? Because I'm thinking back, kids now, they go to school, then they have lessons, then they have swimming, then they have dancing, and they have no free time. You go home, it's homework and
It's
sleep.
true.
So their schedule in itself is very packed.
Crazy.
They have no work-life balance. They have no school-life balance. Even on the weekends, you have piano in the morning, you have this. So they don't get a chance to, they grow up thinking this is how
your
life should be. You have to constantly be on the go. You have to constantly be productive. And then they turn into adults like us who don't know how to turn off, how to just relax. You feel guilty for resting, So yeah, that's just a thought. So that's probably something that we should also focus on with kids, teaching them that, hey, it's okay to take a 5. It's okay to take a Kit Kat break. Okay, you see that plug? Okay.
I love it.
But
You're so spot on,
Yeah.
because the habits are not just about what we eat. It's about how
Yeah.
we live,
Yeah.
our relationship with food. That's the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
So relationships are being formed from we're in the womb. How do we relate
Yeah.
to failure? How do we relate to feedback? What's our relationship like with productivity?
Yes.
Like I've heard many adults, and I know I'm part of that gang too, where sometimes I don't value being. It's always doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I'm being still, it's hard.
Yep.
Because girl, you have 15 things on the agenda.
Yeah, your brain
and I'm
just-
like, but I can't. And then I tell myself the narratives of you're lazy.
Yeah.
Like I had to talk to my therapist about this thing. She's like, you don't strike me as lazy. I'm like, yeah, but I think that should be doing. She's like, well, maybe you should not. Let's just pause and sit in that possibility.
Yeah.
Maybe you're doing enough.
Let's just sleep in that.
Let's just
Yeah.
let that awkwardness sit in the room for a moment.
Yeah.
Because it's so important that we have healthy relationships with everything, including concepts. What's a relationship like with time?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Oh.
I'm so happy you said that, because my next question was going to be, if you had to rate your time management skills on a scale of 1 to 5, what would it be? And I'm just going to drop that right there.
Garfine, I can't expose myself
We need-
on the international streets. I cannot.
And I think these are the conversations, the
Yeah.
hard truths that we need to have with ourselves.
Yeah.
No, Garfine, it's so important. And we spoke about awareness multiple times in our previous chat. And we can't escape it,
Yeah.
The introspection is a life hack.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
For us to have awareness of ourselves. And I talk about the 3 A's of living a powerful life. The first A is awareness.
Write a song. Awareness. Yeah.
Awareness.
Awareness.
The second one is acceptance. Because sometimes we see ourselves do this something, we know so
Yeah.
we stay, but we don't want to accept it.
Yeah.
And then the third A is aligned action. So when I know I've accepted that this is how I show up, do I want to do anything about it? Because I don't assume that we want to.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're comfortable.
Yeah.
Or we're not willing to take the steps to move us in that right direction. So it's important for us to understand, Kamala, you're not managing time well, and especially in these areas.
Yeah.
What could be the possible reasons? Is it that you're trying to do too much? Are you an overgiver?
Yeah.
Because many of us learned that the way to get validation is to constantly give
Yeah.
and to never say no,
No, yeah.
again,
I
boundaries.
think I have.
Boundaries.
I think I have that problem. For being
I
honest,
had that
Yeah.
problem. I struggled with that
Yeah.
for a great number of years.
For real.
Yeah.
How you go over it?
I think it's realizing after a while when I continue to do those things. One, I continue to get people say what they want to say. People see what they want to see.
Anyway,
True.
yeah.
And then I
Regardless,
get
yeah.
disappointed. So I was just like, okay, why do I continue to do that? And then I had a conversation with myself, and I was like, okay, it's not serving me. People are still doing what they want, and I then feel bad, even though I'm giving my all.
Yeah.
So obviously, it's people are just peopling.
Yeah.
And so I had to say, okay, what's gonna make me feel better? What's gonna serve me in that moment?
Yeah.
And I just focus on that because my intent was what's good.
Yeah.
And once I'm okay with that, nothing
Nothing
else
else matters. I feel you.
And that's how I got over it. So now I do what I want, say what I want.
Yeah.
Once my intentions are pure.
pure.
How you want to receive it,
It's on you.
it's on you.
Okay.
If you receive it a certain way, we can have a conversation. And then let me say, boy, no, that's not what I meant.
Yeah.
For me, that's an adult conversation.
Of course.
That's a conscious way of saying, I really care about what you're saying
Yeah.
and I want to, ensure that we're on the right page.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do that,
aligned.
then
Yeah.
I don't have time for it.
No, it's
It's
true.
okay.
No,
It's true.
100%. And it's
Yeah.
kind of weird to be talking about some of these things in the context of a work-life balance conversation, but to me, they fit
Yeah.
because a part of the working dynamic is interacting with the people that you work
Correct.
with.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that draws upon our entire self.
You're right.
Our history, where we're coming from, the trauma that we spoke about in our previous convo.
Yeah.
It speaks about what's going on in our life outside of work.
Yeah.
Because we may not come to work and say, somebody pussy dead last night, but it's with us.
It's
Yeah.
correct.
We might not say my partner is treating me this way that makes me feel invalidated or minimized, but it's
Yeah.
with us.
Yeah.
And so triggers can be in the workplace. There's something called workplace trauma as well.
Yeah.
And then a part of how we interact with each other now are the boundaries in the workplace.
Yeah.
I think you said their trauma in the workplace. I think a lot of us going through some of those things. And I don't know if we don't know how to identify it or can it be identified? And I want to lean on you as an expert to tell me, because I see sometimes people come and they are edgy or they're catty or
Yeah.
and in my head I'm just like, okay, something else happened
going on.
and you're bringing it into
Yeah.
the workplace. Is there a space for that? Can we do something about that? How does that dynamic really work?
So me hear silence, so let me start talking.
Yes.
Because apparently I'm going to talk to. So yeah, there are several things that can be done. A part of it is from like a workplace culture, the systems again.
Right.
Sending a message as part of a healthy workplace that, listen, we are human-centered.
Of course.
We engage human beings, not just human doers, but human beings,
Beings, yeah.
right? So here what happened now, we're letting you know that it's okay to take care of yourselves. And we have these channels that you can access support from. Because sometimes, again, the awareness is not there.
Yeah.
I don't know I'm being catty.
Yeah.
I don't know I'm being anxious because I'm always anxious.
Yeah.
So how do I know that I'm showing up in this
Correct.
way? Because it's
Yeah.
like my norm,
Yeah.
right? So again, finding experts and plugging the spaces to let people know that we bring our full selves to work. And people look at me odd when I say that in corporate spaces, but it's true. All of who we are comes to work with us. The
Yeah.
scared little girl whose mother told her that you will never,
You never be enough
You
or
will
you
never-
not
yeah.
amount to anything.
Yeah.
that's with me when I'm talking to my now female supervisor
Yeah.
Yeah.
or an older female in the workplace.
It comes
Stuff,
out. Yeah.
dynamics are being triggered.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So two things. We can do the work by ourselves. And we're encouraging everybody who be listening to start or continue on this journey of just like checking ourselves. Like
Yeah.
that's a huge piece of wellness.
Yeah.
How am I showing up in life? And is it working for me?
Yeah.
How am I showing up at work is a part of that reflection too. And is
Yeah.
it showing up? Is it working for me?
Yeah.
Where is it coming from? If we can start to unpack those things on the self side, we can get some
Then-
traction.
yeah.
And then on the workplace system side, no. To let people know that we're gonna have human conversations here. I don't have to disrespect you to give you feedback.
Yeah.
So not avoiding difficult conversations in the name of being nice
Correct.
is also a huge piece, especially
Yeah.
as leaders in the workplace,
Yeah.
Mr. Sir over here. So where we can say to somebody in a very empathetic way, because empathy and EQ are super tools.
Yep.
Where I can say, Garfine, the way you just took the notes on the paper right now feels aggressive to me. Can we talk about that, right? Like calling somebody into these difficult, awkward conversations in a way that will not disrespect them, will give them agency. Garfine can say, I don't want to talk about that with you, but I'll talk about it with Sasha.
Yeah.
But just to give feedback to say, in the last 5 meetings, I've noticed that you have been withdrawn. You don't have to tell me what's going on, but just know that
I see you.
what she
Whoa.
said.
Yeah.
What she said.
I see you.
And I'm gonna.
Yeah.
How important is that though, to be seen, and how does one identify it?
So being seen is everything. We are wired as human beings to need that connection where somebody sees us. Like even the parenting relationship pretty much is at a very minimal level is somebody saying, I see you and I'm choosing to care for you. Like your needs matter to me.
Yeah.
And many of us never get the full birth of that, by the way,
That's true.
So we talk about unconditional love. Many of us were raised with certain, what we call conditions of worth in psychology.
Yeah.
So you will get my approval if you show up if you work
Yeah.
like this at school, if you have these friends,
And
if
that
you
could
like
be linked
these
to
people.
perfectionism as well. If
Thank
you're growing up with
you.
a perfectionist parent, you receive love if you get all A's or if you run for mayor or something,
Yeah.
So yeah,
Or if you agree with me.
if you agree with
Correct.
me. Yeah.
So many of us don't know. Many of us believe that have a friendship with somebody. I cannot tell them that.
Disagree with you. I
Yeah.
Say,
cannot
good
tell
sir,
you no.
Yeah.
you shouldn't
I
went
cannot
do
draw
it.
you up and say, listen, what you do is
correct.
wrong.
And some people like those kind of friends, the yes men. If you only have yes people around you agreeing with everything, you could say, yeah, I went to shoot this man today. Yes, good idea. Love it.
You must deserve it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I tell people all the time, in very different aspects, in terms of who you're surrounding yourself with, you need to surround yourself with people who tell you what you need to hear and not what you want to hear.
Agreed.
Because that right there, I think, is a very dangerous place to be if it is that you aren't able to self-regulate,
That's
as you
it.
said.
That's it.
Yeah?
Yeah. We end up losing
We end up
ourselves.
losing ourselves. which
So,
is-
so being seen is everything. We're wired as validation is that superbly integral human need that we all have. I want somebody to validate my humanness, to say, as a person, I see you and you're worthy.
Yeah.
And we bring that with us everywhere. So we come to work looking for it. And then because we're not trained, we don't even believe that emotions have a place in the workplace. We believe, say, just give me the hardcore deliverable, just give me the things, the reports.
Yeah.
You understand where the policies document there. And we're not paying enough attention in our cultures at work to being responsive to human beings and human needs.
That's true.
Is that validation necessary, though?
There's no other way. There's no other way for a healthy life, for
Do you
healthy
think?
relationships.
Do you think all persons need that validation, or do you have some beings who can validate themselves based on whether it is interaction, past experiences, or just from a sense of discernment? Is that possible?
So yeah, man, when we talk about the need for validation, it doesn't look the same way in terms of extent and modes. Like how do you need to be validated and in different areas? Because I may not need to be validated that I can speak well.
Yeah.
But I may need to be validated so my food tastes good and time I cook it.
Yeah.
Because I not have that part there. You understand?
Right.
So it depends.
It depends.
Yeah.
And there are many layers to it. But I think the important thing is at some spaces in our lives,
Required.
and when I say like across our lives, like in this moment, different pockets of our lives, we need to be seen by at least one person.
Yeah.
Somebody who can say, you matter, you are valid, what you are going through might seem minimal to your boss, but to me it's your whole, like
Yeah.
I hold it close and I pray about it for you or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Sasha, who you want to be seen by?
I don't know, I feel like I'm seen, and I have to thank my community for that. I think, family, friends, even when I don't see myself, because, sometimes, I guess, and this is a thing too, like we do things and we see it as small thing, like it's like, oh yeah, and somebody's telling you congratulations, and I'm like,
What are you
for
talking
what?
about? For what?
No, and I tend to do that a lot. Like, no, don't tell me thanks. I was like, no, I ain't get it yet, or I ain't here yet, or or no, I had to do that anyway. That's not a big deal. But so I feel like for me, my community is really good at that. They see me even when I don't see myself. So yeah, I feel like that's a thing.
Which is important.
Yeah.
Which is important.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Attack back to time management, because sometimes we need to schedule a healthy lifestyle.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we actually need to be, again, the word intentional. We need to be intentional in being healthy.
No, there's no other way.
Yeah, within the work-life balance. You know, we need to intentionally schedule to exercise regardless of what happens.
Yes.
This day I am going to the gym at this time to this time. Regardless of what happens, I am not going to buy fast food. I am going to cook. I'm going to meal prep. You know, so I just think that that's something really important to point out, that with time management doesn't come health naturally. It's not automatic. It's not you get one with the other, but you have to be intentional and tell yourself, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to do it. This is who will do it with me, but have a plan, you know? And I think to balance with the systems and the persons, workplaces that offer free gym facilities like Nestlé, you know, they assist in that, because
That
the
is
work-life
true.
balance, you could work until 5 p.m. and just walk 2 steps and you work out. No costs attached. And then you go home and you eat your home cooked food, you know? So I think it's really important that we be very intentional about that and decide that this is a step, this is something that we want to do. Set small goals. Maybe I want to go to the gym once a week to start off with, even though the WHO suggests otherwise, but you know, like, start small and grow. Because for me, that's one of my personal problems. I can do everything, but exercise is the first thing that gets sacrificed. I would schedule, I would say I'm really good with time management, but if I need to give up something, take exercise,
Take it
take
off the
cooking,
table.
take everything else is more important. Everything else is a priority, everything else has a deadline. These things don't have deadlines until I reach a certain age and realize, oh, I should have.
Can't bend down.
Correct.
And you know, a piece of what you said brought my mind to this whole issue of how some of us can be very bombastic. Where
Bombastic.
if we not lose 2 pounds every half hour,
Yeah.
and if we're
Correct.
not getting 2 abs per week, we feel like it's not worthwhile.
Yeah.
And I read this book, a very powerful book by James Clear called Atomic Habits, which was, it really opened my mind to the incremental wins that we can get. If we just
Yeah,
decide
yeah,
that,
yeah,
listen,
yeah.
if it's even to go to the gym for 10 minutes,
Yeah.
go.
Because we want that instant gratification. I
what
want,
it
when I
ties
look
back
back
to.
in the mirror, I see
Yes.
in whoop, you know,
Listen,
but
peaches be popping, right?
Yeah.
It's really important for us to realize that, like let's practice stacking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stacking
Yeah.
over time is important. And just to
Yeah.
bring us back to the big picture of the convo, there are so many ways in which the workplace situation also comes back to our awareness and us asking for what we need, and us being courageous enough sometimes to say, you know what, because I'm so grounded in what is good for me, this workplace is not
Not
it.
for me.
Yeah.
Listen,
That
Yeah.
is not easy. I'm not even trying
It's
to
not,
pretend that it
yeah,
is, because
no.
like bills are very regular and they're very
Yeah.
real.
Correct.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is that there are people who are literally sitting in jobs. I mean, Askuno
Yeah.
is what I do. I support folks
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah, yeah,
workspaces.
yeah, yeah.
They're sitting in jobs, and hourly, daily,
Yeah.
weekly, they are deteriorating in their physical, emotional,
Emotional,
and mental
Yeah, boy.
well-being.
Yeah.
Like sometimes over a year, even my eyes can see that this person is a fraction of themselves. And sometimes because of the benefits, the pension,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
understand,
yeah.
the kids who's just, as Jamaica people like to say, they soon pass the worst.
Correct.
They're
Yes.
in a college now, they have
Yeah,
one
yeah,
more
yeah,
year.
yeah.
I can't.
But there's always one more thing.
Yeah,
It's
there's
always
always something,
and then I
yeah.
want to pay off the house, and then I want to change the car, and then just have that for retirement, and then
Yeah.
so many things.
Yeah.
And if we're not careful, we literally get locked in to these cycles that
Yeah.
breed a lot of things:
Yeah.
despair, depression, burnout, hatred of mankind, just a
Oh,
whole
yeah,
heap of things,
yeah.
Yeah,
apathy.
yeah. And then we bring
Yeah,
that into the
definitely.
workplace.
Exactly. So it's important for us to be clear on what serves me well. A part of wellness is having the courage to say, I deserve this.
Yeah.
It's not an option.
Yeah.
It's what I
For
deserve.
me, it's a non-negotiable for me that I
Yeah.
have this in my life.
Yeah.
And if we can't answer those questions, like write them out, then we need to spend some time and practice doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And that's what's also important. I think a lot of people, to go back to your point, that's the purpose of vacation, mental health,
Health
days,
days.
Yeah.
or whatever.
That realignment.
They are there for our use. I think a lot of us also feel bad sometimes to use them, either because we always have, oh, but I have work for do.
Yeah.
Or but this deadline coming up. Or but no man, I'll take the vacation money next year or
Yep.
whatever it is.
Yep.
Because I don't think we understand. Is that we don't understand the
We don't
importance of it,
prioritize,
yeah.
on prioritizing, or we're just fearful
Yeah.
that work I got done. I don't know.
Yeah.
But can I say to us though that just adding on to Garfield's list of things that we sometimes name as reasons why, going back to the systems and the structures of some workplaces, sometimes in all honesty, I'll have staff tell me, say, good girl, Kamala, you see, if me take the vacation here, you see, anytime I come back, at
More stress.
2.579 times the amount of work I have to
Yeah, that's a
do.
thing too. Yeah.
Because there's nobody to stop me, to backstop me. There's nobody to cover my...
Support while
Yeah.
I'm
So when I
gone.
come, it's going to... If it was here before, it's going to be here
Yeah.
by the time my vacation
Yeah.
ends.
Yeah.
And then, of course, some of us have a difficulty in just pausing. And it, again, because of the coach and therapy hat that I wear, I want to invite those who are watching to sit in honest reflection.
Honest.
Honest. If you're
reflection.
not honest, then nobody do it, right?
Yeah, correct.
Honest reflection. Like, we spoke about workaholism. Is a part of why your life-work balance is not at optimal? Is it because you are
Sometimes are
choosing? Sometimes are we?
Sometimes are we?
Sometimes
Yeah.
are we? Sometimes we're making the decisions that are not serving us well.
Correct.
Yeah.
Sometimes the workplace I say, Miss, take the
Here
day.
you go.
We're not going to
Yeah.
pay you no
Force
more
you.
for it.
Correct.
Go.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we still find reasons to say,
To say no.
maybe next.
Yeah.
What are we hiding from?
Yeah.
We need to ask ourselves
Yeah.
that. And then from the perspective of just like balance in our lives in general, we have to ask ourselves, do you have non-negotiables as a person? Because pretty much people are not going to choose to give us what we're not asking for.
True.
What is our foundation? Like, as a human being, as a good girl and a good sir, what do you think you deserve?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are you giving that to yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I heard something that snatched all the weave I'm in now wear, snatch my edges, right? The person said that what you are not changing, you are choosing. And I was like, this feels very attackish.
Fully, I
Yeah,
love it.
boy,
Yes,
it
'cause it's true.
does.
It's
It feels
true.
very like snatch people
Yeah,
throat.
yeah,
It
yeah.
does.
Yeah.
What you are not changing, you're choosing. And I think we're complicit in many ways.
Yeah.
We are.
Yeah.
We are.
And so as it
We
relates
settle.
to
Yeah.
as it relates to the whole picture of wellness and living well, we have to decide what we need, what we're not going to settle for,
Yeah.
and what we're going to do to change. Otherwise, Garfield, we're just a talk round
Yeah.
the mountain.
Correct. And
Yeah.
drown.
And that's part of the thing. I think even this morning, Sasha we had the previous conversation, and she said that what age would I think I said to you, I don't want to shirk all of my responsibilities.
Yes.
After age 25, because I said I would love to go back to my 24-year-old self,
Yeah.
simply because boy, I never look so bad, and boy, I never look a thing. However, what I would not give up for my older self is
Is
what
this
you
one?
just said
Yeah.
a while ago. Me, this boy, not settle for nothing.
Non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Whether it is for work, personal life, friendships,
Yeah.
if it is not serving me,
Yeah.
if I don't feel good, if I am in an unhappy home, I cut
You're out.
But yeah.
out. And that's something I learned over time, because for me before, I was never me. Oh, I'm gonna try fix, I'm gonna try appease. Oh, maybe I
my-
am the
yes.
fault.
Yeah.
I
If I
am
could
the
just do this
cause. If I
less.
can do
Yeah.
this, I'm gonna keep smalling up myself and changing for people. And I said, I think at the age of I'm not telling them my age,
Yeah.
but at the age of, I'm over 30 though, but at the age of maybe about a couple years ago, but that's it, I literally said, I'm done with that.
Yeah.
Now is my season, the Garfield season,
Yeah.
and I'm, especially because I know my intentions,
Yeah.
and I know that I'm trying to live well,
Yes. Yeah.
Either meet me here
or not
Yeah.
at all.
be well.
Yeah.
Like, be well.
Be well.
Be well.
Correct,
on
correct.
the way.
Be
And
well,
so
beloved.
I've
Beloved.
Yeah.
I've intentionally done kind of strategically
Yeah.
living my life a certain way, because at the end of the day, I want to live. It's not because of the show. It's legit truth.
Yeah.
I want to live well.
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah,
believe in
definitely.
that.
I'm a want
Yeah.
the wealthy
Yes.
to turn into
Wealthy.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. There's a clarity that comes, and to your point about failure, there's a clarity that comes with failure. Because after you try it these ways and then you don't get it, you don't get
Trial
the
and
outcome.
error.
It's a powerful teacher.
Yeah.
And to the extent that we can embrace it and leave room for it, we're going to live some powerful lives.
Correct.
Because, I mean, think about how children learn how to walk. Like learning.
Off a job sometime.
They're going to have to. So something as significant as learning how to master walking and talking came with mistakes.
Correct.
So in our human journey, we're going to make mistakes. We're going to fail. And we must, in the workplace and personally, we have to leave room for that. Otherwise, it's just not human-centered. It's not serving people well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like that is a good note to end on.
Listen,
like
I think it's fantastic.
We have some gems. We have some gems. Everybody, after listening to this episode, should go into the workplace with a new mindset. You know, one where they are actively seeking balance. You know, I feel like we gave them enough gems that they could lead a happier, healthier life.
Yeah, I think one of the things we also highlighted that in some workplaces the policies are there, the things are there for us to just take it into our own hands and live those lives. And so we wanted you all to leave here today with just that in mind. Would have gone through a lot of different things, and we talk about intentionality, we talk about resilience, we talk about balance. Those are all words that we hear in the space. We know what it means, but we're not actively using it in our lives on a day-to-day basis. So I want you all to leave from here today with the knowledge that these two lovely ladies, my doctors beside me, imparted, and to go and continue to live well, live good, so that we can contribute not only to the workplace, but also to our home life. Because as we done said a while ago, some of the times we're bringing over the problems from our job.
Transference is real.
Transference is real. And we need to be able to check ourselves. We need to be able to have people check us so that these things don't manifest in ways that are detrimental to us, to our health, to our mental well-being. And so we're going to leave it on that note today. And we're going to just say, remember, if you want to continue the conversation, we're going to have a lot more of these topics. And again, if you don't want to say, Kamala, come back. We never know. This can be a season 2. There could be another episode. But it has been fantastic. Remember, we can follow us on all socials. And Kamala is White Lotus Blooms. At White Lotus Blooms. And for us, it's Nestlé Caribbean, all channels. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and right here on YouTube. It has been a fantastic time.
Amazing.
And we're out of time now. I remember always, thank you for living well, get well, be well. All the best.